We've met the distributive property before. Recall, the distributive property tells me that if I have three numbers that I'm combining in this way, add 2 and then multiply by a third, I can rewrite it so that I'm multiplying each one. Or, if I'm multiplying by the same thing twice, I can rearrange so that I'm only doing multiplication once. Using the properties of multiplication and the properties of addition, there are several forms in which we can write the distributive property. We can write it in this form, or we can write it with the multiplication on the right. Or, remember, subtraction is just addition in disguise, so we can also apply the distributive property in the case of subtraction. Previously, we've used the distributive property in combining like terms. So, for example, we've used the distributive property to rewrite 3x plus 2x as 3 plus 2x, or just 5x. Now, we're going to use the distributive property the other way round to rewrite 3 times x plus y as 3x plus 3y. Notice, by our definition, before we begin we have one term, since the only addition is inside parentheses. And after we finish, we have 2 terms. We're using the distributive property to turn a complicated term into several simple terms. It is important to note, we won't necessarily use the distributive property every time we see parentheses. For example, if we have 3x plus the expression in parentheses 4 minus x, the distributive property doesn't apply here because this is not multiplication. Instead, we would rewrite everything as addition, and then the associative property lets us just throw away those parentheses, and then we can combine like terms, combining the 2 x terms in this case. Similarly, if we have 4 times 3y, this time the distributive property doesn't apply because it's not addition or subtraction inside the parentheses. Instead, again, we'll just use the associative property to get rid of the parentheses. And then we'll actually do multiplication to say 4 times 3 is 12. One more place where we will not use the distributive property is if we have something like this. This is just an arithmetic expression. We don't need the distributive property here. We can just evaluate it according to the order of operations. So we'll have 5 times 8 is 40. In this case, the distributive property would apply. We just don't actually need it.